Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is the willingness to learn, like the willingness to make yourself uncomfortable. That's confidence.
What advice would you give women that find themselves in a situation where perhaps they're going through a divorce and they're thinking that their world is falling apart?
Hello, babe.
Hello, darling.
I have you on speaker. Do you want to say hi?
Oh. What's going on, everybody?
Hello, lady.
Hello. Did you guys start yet?
Yes.
Then why are you picking up?
Oh, because they love you more than they love me.
Not true. Not true.
Nobody who meets both of us loves me more than you.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
He has got it down. He's a good husband.
He's a great husband.
I'm actually about to go on. I was just calling to let you know I'm going to be out of service for a little bit.
Okay. Well, don't worry, because I will be too.
Oh.
It's an important interview here. Yeah.
Okay. Love you. Good luck. Kill it on stage.
All right.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you. Bye.
All right.
Aww.
There's a little bit of Jared James for you.
Welcome back to Own the Room with Pam and Gayle, a podcast where we meet with remarkable women who lead with courage, authenticity, resilience, and heart.
Today's guest is someone who has spent her career standing at the intersection of real estate, innovation, and technology, entrepreneurship, and family, and doing it all while navigating the very real complexities of motherhood and marriage in a high-performance world. So welcome, Linda James.
You guys
We're
are
excited.
so sweet.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, we tend to flatter you, but honestly, we are both sitting here in complete awe of you.
We're fangirls.
Yeah, we really
you guys
are.
are so sweet.
Yeah, you have been a remarkable woman in our industry, especially not being a realtor or a broker or a lender or whatever the tagline might be in our industry. But you've always been a leader in our industry. So we're
that's so
so
kind.
excited about having you here. And also, I remember when I first met you, I was working at another real estate company, and you came in because you worked at MLS.
Yes.
And they said, "Oh, we've got this Linda
Something rather
very complicated last name, and that's coming in from MLS to talk to us about." MLS Touch, I think it was.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's how long
Yes.
ago it was. And it's like, who is this gal? Yeah. And then this beautiful woman walks in the room who owns...
Just kidding.
By the way, Linda, own the room.
Really?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely. There is something just so authentic about you and joyful that when you walk in, you really do capture people's attention, not just because you're striking, but because of your personality and confidence that you exude in being in rooms. So
Oh, well, thank you so
I
much.
always have, and for me to remember you as well as I remembered you, you made an impact.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
So your journey to technology, how did that happen? Can you take us back a little bit and talk about those early days, and then how you got to the Fresno Association of Realtors and became the MLS executive, and then we'll kind of progress from there.
Yeah, okay, story's super interesting. So went through high school, and little back up a little bit. I'm first generation immigrant here in the US. And so I thought there's a process to everything. So high school, you graduate, you go to college, and you graduate from college, and you go into your career, excuse me, and you kind of just soar from there. And so I tried to do that, following my sister's path. That's what she did, and got her teaching credential. But when I was in school, I realized real quickly I hated being told what to do, and history was boring to me. I always loved math, always loved science, because it's always like changing and evolving, and I love problem solving. History was like a one and done. Like, it was really, to me, there was no interest in that. And so I decided, let's kind of jump into, I wanted to work. I wasn't forced to work, but I wanted to work because my parents both worked 2 jobs, me growing up. So I always saw that defined hard work for me. And I did not want that. And so I chose to work while I was in junior college, and honestly, it was a God-given talent. It was sales first. I was in sales at at Bally's here in Fresno. And I was selling personal training. Never have done it in my life, right? Talk about confidence, which I know we're going to talk a lot about. But I knew, like, I was confident in myself, my ability to communicate whatever was on a piece of paper and sell it, whether or not I did it or
And boy,
did it.
Sales is about confidence, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And so I killed it in that. And then I got recruited to AT&T because I had a little kiosk at Bally's had a little kiosk in the mall, and it was right next to an AT&T store. And they would see me selling this stuff like hotcakes. And I had no idea what I was selling, but I was selling it. And so they recruited me over to AT&T, and I'm like, cool, more money. That's all I thought.
Yeah.
I could sell. Right. And I got in there, and I remember my first day there. There's a whole bunch of guys. They're all bilingual. I look like I should be bilingual, right? I'm not. And so I get there, and I'm like, great, training. No. They're like, no, just grab a box and sell a phone. I'm like, what do you mean grab a box and sell a phone? I didn't know what that meant. And so I literally grabbed a box, and it was singular, right over to AT&T. And I'm like reading the back of the box and trying to sell it. Honest to God, in 5 months, I became not only the manager, but the general manager for all of 18 stores at AT&T by reading a box. And that's how I kind of learned and fell in love with technology, because I saw it evolving. And then I had a really unique opportunity to work with Apple when Apple first opened their store here. So this is like going back to where like the first iPhones came out. Like I launched Bluetooth here in Fresno. I launched Uverse here in Fresno. Like that's like, I'm going back to 04, right? Apple came out in 08, I think, 07 with their first iPhone. And so I got introduced to Apple. But you know what's interesting about Apple? And I love tech because of that. I left school because I made enough money. I made 6 figures at 19. I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
Help mom and dad with stuff. I lived at home, no bills. So life was great. But when I went to Apple, that's where things pivoted a little bit, because you don't get commission at Apple. Because Apple could sell the product with or without you. They don't need you. It sits there and it's beautiful and it sells. And so it was all about like customer service. And it was they actually called it the red zone. So the sales section at Apple was called the red zone, which in football is it's like the dangerous space before you get into a touchdown, right? It's the red zone. And so they looked at the Apple store. Once a customer comes in, that red zone, everyone is hyper-focused, and it's all about customer experience and not anything else besides that. Because whether you sell it or not, you're not making any more or any less. Okay.
Interesting.
And so
Interesting.
I started falling in love with the concept.
Are they still like that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
No
Because
commission.
you're absolutely right. The way Apple packages everything, and it's so beautiful, it does sell itself. Of course, our lives evolve around Apple.
Yeah.
But
So I
anyway.
had to like undo what I learned, right? Because I learned like you hustle out there and you do it. You're in on your own, like figure it out. To the whole, like I went through a 7 interview process just to get hired at Apple. After they went after me, I still had to interview. And then I had to undo this whole like sales pitch, and figure out, okay, let's be a little relational and ask more questions. What are they looking for? Like, why do you think you need that? Is this the best fit, or do you want to do this instead? And so it really allowed me to not only like unlock other skill sets, I guess you could say that I have, but also I got super relational and in-depth with my customers, which led to me going to the MLS, actually. And so one of my customers were Mary Van Ness and Gerard Lozano. And I sold them their first iPad. And I was in the business solution at Apple's. And they loved the whole experience and what Apple has trained me to do, that they're like, hey, I think we need you over here. Do you want to come this way? And so I did that. But I didn't know what the MLS was. At that point,
So
I think
this
I was
was your
23.
first foray into real estate.
Yeah, the MLS. The only MLS I knew, because I'm Middle Eastern, was the soccer. I was like, that's all I knew. My whole family knew soccer and nothing else. So we're like, cool, what's the MLS? Like, that's cool. And so that's how I got into it. But tech has been a part of my life from AT&T to Apple. Apple was amazing. Like, there's something, and I talked about this before at the event that you guys hosted.
Right.
There's something super powerful of proximity. And when you're in a room or at corporate at Apple and you're around a whole bunch of innovators, There's power to that. And this is why they actually obtain 100% of whatever idea that you actually want to do or like create. They actually take 100% ownership of that because they are putting you in a spot of a whole bunch of influence and innovators that spike creativity.
So you're like, it's like an incubator. And
Pretty
so you're
much, it
essentially incubating in their space. And so they're kind of like the daddy.
So you have the idea because of us. We employed you.
Yeah.
Therefore, we own 100% of this. So, and it's a contract that you sign.
Makes sense.
A lot of tech companies are like that.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So I left there, which was one of the hardest decisions of my life. I did not want to. And I was put in a position, an ultimatum that I had to make a decision. In that time, it was a dating relationship that could have formed into a marriage, which it did eventually. And so it was either, hey, do you want me, the boyfriend, or do you want your career? Like, what's more important, And so, and I was, about to work up in Cupertino, and I worked several years to get to that point, and decided, okay, I'm going all in for love. So I did that.
So I had the same, interesting. I had that same crossroad.
did.
That
Yeah.
I
you
had-
did?
that I had to
You did.
cross.
Yes.
I was married at the time, very young, and I was working in Beverly Hills. And I had that dream
You
marketing
look like a
job.
Beverly Hills girl.
She does.
Housewife
She
of
could be one of those, the bells of
What are
Los
the
Angeles.
Bravo shows or something like that. And I had a penthouse office, had an incredible dream
fun.
job. And my husband at the time said, you either give up your job or I'm going to divorce you.
Oh.
And that was the hardest decision I ever made. And if your life ended up like mine, we got divorced anyway. I gave up a huge stepping stone opportunity for love that I have regretted my entire life.
Maybe the whole Love is Blind thing fits there. But I did that. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, come
you
on.
went
Could you?
all in for love.
Yeah, could you imagine? And that's one thing. It's like, the reputation. If I just chose to go this way, I would get talked so poorly on.
Yeah.
Linda, you're money driven and success driven. How selfish.
And that being not a female trait. Women aren't supposed to be that way. But if a man decided, a male decides that he is going to stay in the position he is because that is his path or journey, we would all understand that. Maybe it'd be sad that...
because it's more common. It's okay. It's very rare for a woman.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't even married then, though. It was just a dating relationship. So I went in on this dating relationship, but I did come out of a very toxic, abusive relationship. So there is a sense of worth. Like I wanted to be loved. So the fear of losing that, ultimately made the decision of I'll stay and I'll just pivot, And so I did. And the MLS was interesting, at first. You're going from a really cool atmosphere where it's so hard to get into. It's so exclusive and there's energy and tech is always evolving and changing. It's so lucrative. It's fun.
And the proximity of these bright thinkers.
To a desk job,
Right.
And I'm taking phone calls. I'm like, I can't log in. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Wait a minute. I resent that you didn't like that phone call from me.
Probably was you.
It probably was.
No, but I had the hardest time. For the first 3 months, I was just, and then actually I got engaged right away. So he proposed to me within the month of being there, which was exciting. But I was questioning all life choices. Why did I do this? I'm not happy. I remember talking to Mary Van Ness, bless her heart. I love that woman. Yeah. She went to the printer. I could clearly remember this. She went to go pick up some papers that she printed. And I kind of tucked in that corner with her. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And she's like, good, how are you? How are things going? I'm like, good. And she's like, are you liking everything? And I'm like, honestly, I'm really bored. That's exactly what I said. I'm just bored. And she's like, okay, well, let's figure something out. And I know she saw value in me. But she didn't know where I would fit at that time. And remember Justice Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the MLS exec at the time, and he decided to make a really strong pivot and go to RPR.
Right.
And Mary Van Ness sat me down, and Justice sat me down, and we had a conversation, and they said, I know it's quick, but I think you're ready. You know, because of how quickly I was able to adapt and learn.
And you're very bright.
But you know what? Like, this is something I feel like people misconstrued. Like, I think the fact that I am willing to be a student and be like, hey, I don't know, teach me. Yeah. Let me like hold my hand for a little bit, mold me, do whatever, allows you to grow so quickly. So you talk about confidence, right? We talk about that a lot. And confidence is, I think, gets misinterpreted. It's not a feeling. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is the willingness to learn, like the willingness to make yourself uncomfortable. That's confidence. And so when you're confident, and it kind of feeds into a word which we are know of, it's competency, right? And that is, oh, I know how to. I'm competent. I know that I could do this. But the only reason why I know is because there's been a lot of failures, pivots, questions, the unknowns, all this stuff. So in order to be confident, you have to be willing to do something. It's not a feeling of like, oh, you know, I don't feel confident today.
It comes from competence or
Thank you,
knowing
yeah.
that you can master competency or
Absolutely.
that you can master whatever it is that's put in front of you. And you knew
Absolutely.
that you had the confidence in yourself that you knew that you could master a set of skills, a set of information, and then take it and run with it and make it significant.
So another way could be like this. Like, confidence is, I hope they like me. I hope Connor really likes me. Producer Connor.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope Connor likes me, right?
Right.
No, it's me coming in and saying, hey, whether or not he likes me, I am good.
Yeah.
Like, I am confident in myself, and I know who I am, whether Connor likes me or not. You know, whether I get the job, whether I get the listing appointment, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because I know what my value is and what I bring. And that's it. And because, like you even said this earlier, like the way I walked into a room, I'm confident in who I am. Because I'm confident in who I am reflects that I'm confident in the product that I'm selling.
Right.
Right.
So true.
I'm curious how
So
you.
true.
I'm curious about how you got confident, and then let me take you back a little bit. There are some women, like girls, when they're being raised, their parents are saying, you know, you're going to be nothing. You're going to mount to nothing. You are nothing. Your children are only meant to be seen, not heard. How did you, or where do you think, what led that knowledge that you had internally, intrinsically, that you were very capable?
You know what's so interesting? I think, and I love my parents. Mom, I love you. But I think it's because I felt, not necessarily this is how what they did, I felt like misplaced as a child. I felt unseen as a child. Not unwanted. I know they loved me. They took care of me. But I can't even remember like core like memories of like being wanted. So you know I think the confidence comes from a lack of like, and which is so weird because you know what, till this day sometimes I'll have conversations with Jared and there's this little Linda that is still wanting to be like, hey mom, did I do good? Dad, what do you think?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Validation.
And it's all of this validation from two people. And the whole world, you could sit here and tell me, people could tell me, but it's like, oh, when they share it, it's like, oh, I finally did good.
Yeah.
I did good.
Yeah.
But so I feel like it stems from that. Like I said, they were working two jobs, both of them. They were raising 4 kids. They were immigrants. And so there's nothing against them at all. It's just trying to juggle everything.
Do you parent differently because of that?
I do, very much so. And it's at one point, actually, when I got married, I back up a little bit, and I feel bad saying this, but I don't think my desire was to be a mother based on what my desire wasn't that. Actually, when I got pregnant and had my son Ty, who is now 12, I went through postpartum very quickly, like within 4 weeks. And I went back to the MLS. It was foreign to me. I didn't know what to give, what I felt like I didn't really have like growing up. At least I can't remember. But So yeah, very different. And so I have to say, like my mom stepped in and helped a ton, like with my son. But when they were young, being intentional didn't, for me, sad to say, didn't mean much because they didn't know. They're one, they're two, but so being present meant more. Like I just need to be there. As long as they see me and I'm working, it's fine. Like they're not going to put two and two together. Now that they're older, I think when they hit 4 and 5, I have adjusted parenting to like true intentional parenting. Like we're going to hang out. I'm not going to correct you. I'm not going to ask you questions. I'm going to ask what you would like to do instead. And we're going to hang out and we're going to do it. So it's a different way of parenting than what I was used to. But also like,
But what a sense of value that would give your children
Oh,
in
yeah.
saying your opinion matters.
oh, absolutely.
And I think you have a girl and a boy,
Yes,
right?
my son,
So
Ty and Ari, yeah.
Yeah, especially for your daughter to grow up in that environment, which you had loving parents, but they weren't validating you. They weren't doing the things that you're doing and saying you're like the way that I was raised. My opinion did not matter when I was being raised. I mean, there are no expectations of you whatsoever, Pam. You know, I mean, that's a terrible thing
Yeah.
to do to your children. And for you to sit down and say, you know, what do you want to do today?
Oh, yeah.
Your opinion matters to me. Oh my God.
And I try my best.
That's
Like,
so life-changing.
My son just broke the school record 2 days ago with high jump at school. So he broke his whatever. And I told him, buddy, you know what? I'm not only happy because I'm not proud of you, not only proud of you, but dude, you put in so much work. And on top of that, you kept your grades up. I'm so proud of that. And on top of that, I really appreciate that you did. And I'm a words of affirmation. Jared will tell you, my husband will tell you. I'm not a gift person. You know, affectionate for a while. I thought I wasn't an affectionate person until I did, you know, I got remarried and realized who my partner, who my person was. But words of affirmation means everything. And so I make sure that I pour that into my kids, but also my son is a touch lovey-dovey son. So he also is, his love language is different, but I make sure I at least express mine to him and vice versa. But yeah, so it has shaped me a lot and differently. But like a lot of my courage and confidence comes from a lack of something, which is so interesting, you know, when you ask that. But it has gotten me to scale. And so I went to the MLS and I was the MLS exec there. And then, I mean, I loved it. Like Mary gave me free reign. She was confident in me and my abilities. I still went to her for direction and mentorship on things. Same with Gerard. But I love being a student. I love learning.
So
Gayle's
now,
very much that way too.
Yeah.
so now the MLS, the MLS debate that's going on nationally, it's for many of us, and we were just chatting about that a little bit earlier before we started the podcast, about what is at stake here with the MLS data. That it seems now that there is this data war. And who's going to win it? Is it going to be the brokerage side? Is it going to be the National Association of Realtors? Is it going to be Zillow and Homes.com? But ultimately, it impacts the consumer and the real estate agent. So what I know you and Jared have some conversations around this. Okay, I would love to listen to your pillow talk.
I know.
About
Sometimes
the
we get
MLS.
so heated, they're like, bye. We're like, okay, bye. Hey, we just hang up. No, but it's super interesting because I haven't been licensed and I'm a rule follower. So like, I'm like, no, you know, this is how rules are. But like scaling back, we were talking this morning about this national MLS thing. And I'm like, cool, a national MLS, which the benefits are reduces fees, right? How many MLSs are you part of?
Like 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would not have to pay 4 different dues. You would
Right.
pay one due nationally.
Right.
So that's great, right? And then you could
It
see.
certainly makes sense, doesn't it?
I mean, it does. And then you see what? You get to see properties in Florida and Texas and Virginia, Kentucky. Cool. But you still can't practice there.
No.
Right? So like so Jared and I go back and forth on that. So yeah, there's a great national scale to things. But like for me, what makes sense is like, why don't we just do state? This way you see everything in the state. You could still refer out of state if you wanted to, but you practice, your license is for the state of California. So why can't we just focus on state and not a national scale where really your DRE here and your licensing here doesn't matter in Kentucky, and vice
Yeah,
versa.
you have to get licensed
So
there.
I don't know about that. It's interesting, but Jared pushes back and says, well, the benefit to NAR or not NAR to national is you have access to everything. I'm like, cool. Well, that's great.
Doesn't really do you any
But
good
I
if
don't
you
know.
can't practice.
Yeah, so I don't know. But what's so weird, because I love the MLS, I love the association, but what makes sense to me is, remember back in the day they were going to do that Upstream program? Do you remember that, Upstream?
I don't remember.
Okay, Upstream was a program that NAR funded, millions of dollars, like all your dues went into there. And it basically gave brokers control of where they wanted to syndicate listings. So instead of MLS pushing out listings to portals, it would be broker, and then you push it out to the MLS. You push it out to Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, whatever you want it to go. That makes more sense. And actually, NAR was a part of that. NAR wanted to build that for all the brokers, and then they could have access to where their listings went. They botched that real quick. They said no to that.
Is that ultimately good for the consumer? Because now the consumer has to hop from Compass website to Real Broker's website
Yeah.
to a local brokerage, small brokerage with maybe three.
Yeah.
I mean, for the
No,
consumer,
it's not. I think
not.
everything right now is what's best for the agent.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. I don't think they're thinking consumer what's best for the consumer. Right now, you have Zillow, who is getting over 50 million plus billions, if not visits. Like, they are all consumer, them. Now, as far as like listing and data, that's going to be Compass, and right now, because they're the big dog.
Right.
But consumers don't care one way or the other. They just want to figure out like where
They just want to be able to see the houses, and so
Yes,
so they're still going to go someplace like a Zillow, who has access to the most of the properties in the market that they're looking at.
And this whole Compass, and from what my understanding, the whole MLS Compass and national and stuff is really because NAR has doubled down on rules too much. And they just want a little more freedom. And I get that also, right? But at some point, if you create this national MLS, there's going to have to be rules. And who comes up with the rules? A whole bunch of agents and brokers.
Yeah.
That's what NAR is made up of. NAR, the reason why the rules are there is because you have a body of agents and brokers that are realtors that are voted in. They're not just randomly in. They're
Right.
voted in by membership, and they represent the associations that they're a part of. And then they go in and they vote as a board, as a committee. And there's a ton of processes here. And so I was saying those same agents are going to create rules, boards, everything, even on a national scale. So I'm like, I wonder how this will play out. Jared calls it like it's the right chess move right now for a long term, further down the road, something that might evolve further down the road. But it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Well, and that's the reason that I believe that Real Broker just recently acquired, or is in the process of acquiring Remax. Is to make them the second largest or something close to that brokerage in the country. Is so that they have a voice or a seat at the table, because those big brokerages are going to be the ones that have the most influence because they have the most agents.
I do tell Jerry jokingly, man, there's too much testosterone in this industry. I was like, gosh, like it's so like there's just too much. That's like, goodness, like calm down a little bit. Like lawsuit after lawsuit, this after this.
I
It's
know.
like, dude, okay. But I'm in hopes that it all unfolds the way agents are wanting it to unfold.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. The consumers don't even know what's going on. They don't
No,
care.
they don't, except for they are reacting about this touring agreement that's got to be signed.
Is that the open house that you're talking about?
Open houses, open houses, no. They're not having to do that for open houses. But for going out and looking at a property, they have to do it's a commitment letter to that particular
yes.
Buyer
to that
broker.
particular
Yes, buyer
house.
broker.
And most of the time, especially if you're taking cold leads, which is part of our industry, it's a big part of our industry. Like 20 years ago, everybody, the way that you picked up clients was to set on a floor and take random calls. Now the agents have to buy leads. All the agents want to do, you're talking about all this testosterone that's in our industry, and the lawsuits that are going on and all of that. And really, the majority of the agents that are out there, they just want to go out and open a door and show a property.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. It makes their job so much harder because they're going, but you have to sign this before you walk in the door. Well, I don't want to sign it. You know, so it's the NAR settlement has made our job very, very
So
complicated.
there might be some things to eliminate the complexity, like the complex side of things.
Yes.
So this might be the step in the right direction. I don't know. But I mean, there's still going to be a body of rules,
Well,
however that looks like.
Yes, they're always.
But I
has to
don't
be.
know. I really, truly do not believe that the consumer won on the rules that they instigated from all of these lawsuits. I think that they're the ones that, you know, are the most strongly impacted.
The other thing is that it's being these rules, buyer broker agreements, things like that, are being applied differently from state to state to state. So, so that there is no consistency even from a national standpoint, because each state has their own rules, their own department of regulations. And so there isn't any consistency from one state to the next, and that adds confusion as well. So this is going to be an interesting, interesting road that we're going to navigate. And I think most people don't even understand really what the multiple listing service does. So for those out there that don't know what the multiple listing service does, and they're listening to our podcast, what is the purpose of a multiple listing service?
Well, it's changed, right? We all know that. The purpose at one point was to conduct in listing and selling of a home, to cooperate, right, in compensation for an agent to agent. Well, that has changed because now we don't display compensation and we take the word cooperate out of everything. So we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? But still play nice, okay? But the purpose of it is really to list your seller's home on the MLS to get the most exposure and visibility for them. As you guys have a due diligence to them, you're required to market the property to your best of your ability. Whether that is on the MLS, whether it's on Zillow, whether it's on Realtor.com, doesn't matter. Whether it's on Redfin, you are required, like once you sign that agreement. And so the MLS is an easy way to do that and secure way because they syndicate and push those listings out to third parties.
And they create the rules around how those listings are going to go in there. So these private listings that's being discussed currently, many MLSs are not even able to accommodate a private listing unless there's something done within the organization. Because they are in our MLS, for example, a private listing doesn't exist, and technically it's not even a coming soon.
It's prior to that.
It's prior to the coming soon, so it hasn't even, that listing has not even gotten into the MLS. So it's going to be precluded for the first part of the marketing period, and then at some point it will then enter into the MLS where it now has more distribution to the consumer.
And the interesting thing about that, and I'm wondering what your take is on it. You know, being out there in real estate, there all of this talk about the what everybody's getting into, Compass and Zillow, about the preview of property being even before, as Gayle said, coming soon. If you go out and who's behind this? Because if you go out and you talk to the seller is going to say, I want everybody to see it. I want to get the best price I can get. But I'll give you for instance. So a month ago, I went on a listing appointment, and I told the gal, there is one of my agents is very interested in bringing over a buyer to look at it. They've walked by here. They know the property. They love it. And she looked at me and she went, well, I have a lot of people that are interested, but I want to see how well my house does on the open market. And I think that is the voice of the majority of people who are looking to sell their homes. So who is this really for?
That's interesting.
Is it really about who has the most toys wins? I
Yeah.
mean, is that
You
what
know,
it's
you know
really
what's
about?
interesting? Connor, are you awake? Are you staying up? You should get Connor a mic. That'd be really cool for him to kind of engage in the conversation.
He could be like,
Yeah.
Is that
just like
called the fourth wall?
it's like the Oz. Like you don't really
Yeah.
know who's there, but he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but what's interesting is I feel like people don't understand the rule of clear co-op. And because they don't understand the rule of clear co-op, all of these lawsuits happened and commissions were taken away, all this stuff. But the whole purpose of clear cooperation was you can't pre-market a coming soon property, right, to the public.
Right.
And then at one point, NAR described what the public was. And the video's gone. It's gone. It's vanished. But the public was, and they would list all this stuff. And it said, like, public means no for sale sign. Public means no flyers passed out.
Right.
Public means nothing on social media. But public did not mean I could not walk into my broker's office and advertise the property
Right.
in that office. And the reason being is, as you know, listing agents represent a broker in the transaction. The broker owns the listing.
Mm-hmm.
So because the broker owns the listing, he can market that property all he wants amongst 5 of his real offices if he wanted to.
Right.
And he's fine. It's perfectly fine. But because they did not understand that, I feel like, personally, it has become this huge, massive like snowball effect and this huge lawsuit. It's like, no, you could have pre-marketed, since day one.
It already existed.
It already existed.
Saying.
It's just the rules tell you what you cannot do. They never tell you what you can do. Okay.
Right.
So that's where you have to like sit there and educate and be like, no, you can't do this, but let me show you what you could do. And that's what I tried to do a lot in the MLS space. And quite honestly, I have a tech company that is pre-market. Our company, Jared and I's company, is a pre-market database for brokers to display pre-market inventory within their office. Because agents couldn't understand the rule, we designed a company that would do it for them, so they don't have to worry about it. But now it's like, Compass or these other brokers are saying, I'm going to have pre-market inventory, not necessarily coming soon, but pre-market private listings, and I'm going to put them on these portals, and everyone could see them. Well, now that is not compliant.
Yeah.
We all know that. But they're the big dogs, so what are you going to do? So that's where they're at right now. But
Sure.
super interesting.
Well, let's talk about your tech company that you and Jared own. So,
do you want to talk about that, or like kind of like how we rolled into it?
how you rolled into it?
We want to
Tell us.
hear how you rolled into
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Because it's really interesting. So I was at the MLS level, and I was there for just shy of 10 years. And
oh my
Mary,
gosh, you were there that
I
long?
know.
Oh, I had
Isn't
no
that
idea.
crazy? It went by so
I mean,
fast.
time goes by so fast. I would
Oh.
have said you were only there a couple of years.
No,
Yeah,
almost 10 years. And I actually had the privilege of designing MLS Touch. So when Justice left, I signed the contract for MLS Touch to work on that project and that app, and they were out of Canada. It's a company called Prospect. And we designed that and we launched that, I want to say in 2016.
It's one of our agents'
launched
favorite.
Oh, and it was so much fun. Fresno was the first
They
MLS to
still
adopt
love
it.
that. They still love that app.
Our agents.
I'm
love it.
so proud of it. And then it got actually sold to CoreLogic.
Yeah.
CoreLogic bought it a few years ago, and that was amazing just to see. But so I left when Mary announced her retirement the first time, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, she's leaving. I just don't want to be
Right.
my mentor leaving. So I decided to pivot. I actually went to a brokerage here in town, and I found out real quick that I could not be impartial. I'm like, wait a minute. My heart is for all the agents,
Right.
not just for the 500 agents here or 400 agents. And so it was very difficult. And then I had an opportunity to go to a company called Bitwise Industries here in Fresno. And I took an app, which is the same concept of my app today, but it was the whole pre-market. Very simple, very basic. It was just, at that time, it was just a whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard, and did that. And it was good. It was 4 years, I think 3.5 to 4 years of working, maybe 3 years of working on that, which really is, in any new startup, it's kind of like a proof of concept. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And Bitwise kind of funded that. So it was financially good for me. And then, as we know, here in the Valley, that went under, right? So everyone, if you don't know, did you hear about Bitwise, Connor? So Connor, they did a massive Ponzi scheme scam and $500 million in funding or lost money.
Big drama.
Bitwise next day, literally on Memorial Day, so coming up, had everyone get on a Zoom call, and we all got on a Zoom call at 8:00 at night, and I actually still have that recording, and I have the CEO of the company furlough everyone off that day, completely gone. So I went from MLS to a brokerage to Bitwise, loving what I did there, to like unemployed. Figure it out, you're done.
So
you
the
know?
world was
And
just
so-
they pulled the floor out of the
And
rug out from
during
underneath.
this time, I'm in the middle of a divorce. So before the furlough happened, I'm in the divorce process already. And so I already did the payout. I did the payout. I was a breadwinner. I did the payout. I refinanced my house at a 6% interest rate.
Oh my God.
I was locked in at a 3.2 and went to a 6. And then the furlough happened. And it's just like you said, like the rug pulled from underneath you.
Yeah.
And I truly felt like it was just pure suffocation. I didn't have the income anymore, but I had to pay out. I couldn't afford my home. My home went into foreclosure, and then I had this divorce of like the 2 kids. Like, what am I going to do? Like, thing. So, but Jared is such a great man, but Jared paid out my foreclosure. And he looked at me and he said, and Zoom, because we're bi-coastal, right? So we're a FaceTime. So he looked at me and he's like, hey, you look at Listing Alert, which was the company previously. It was a proof of concept. The blessing is you didn't have to pay a penny to test that. If anything, you could scale the company. You know the company. You could build it. Let's do it. And so I went into kind of like mom mode. And you just figure it out and rebuild the company in 30 to 60 days. Everything was funded overseas. I got my developers and we're back into business. But it was the hardest, and it's still, I'm still startup world. It's 2 years old. But it's the hardest. It's hard to get momentum again, And there's so much that happened. You have the divorce. You have family that's divided.
Sure.
You have my religious side, the Christianity and the church side, and the pressure of that. And then trying to make my kids happy. They're not sure what's going on. Why we're moving several times. There's that. The uneasiness. Jared and I were just boyfriend, girlfriend. We're just dating. Is he going to stay around?
Right.
Is this temporary? I don't know. So there was a lot. But there's an analogy out there about when a storm comes and the weather comes and it's heavy, the cow typically does this. They kind of either huddle together, or what they do is they walk with the wind and they walk away from the storm. Okay. Versus the bison, what they do is they walk towards the storm. So what the cow is what's going to happen to the cow is when the cow is walking away from the storm and the weather will eventually come up to the cow.
Right.
And they get the hard part of that storm, right? It's difficult, it's rough, it's brutal. But the other way around, the bison walking towards the storm, it's going to surpass, and it might be rough at first, but they're going to get through that storm faster.
Right.
Right? Because they're pushing against it. And I realized that real quick. I need to be the bison. I need to push against it. I need to get up. No one's cheering for me. If anyone, they're all saying it's a part of your downfall. It's a part of your divorce. It's what you get.
Yeah.
I was always the black sheep of the family. So it's Linda, it makes sense. And so instead of being the cow, I decided to be the bison and push against everyone else. No one was rooting for me. And if they were rooting for me, they could be rooting for my downfall, not for me to go, not to grow.
And probably were.
Okay. And so and that's hard. It's a hard season to go through. You lose friends. People pick and choose.
Yeah.
You're isolated. You're just after COVID, so you're very much isolated. And then my best cheerleader was across the country.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 little kids to support that you got to figure it out. So there's a lot. And so a part of life, I think a lot of us choose to run away.
That is so true.
And it temporarily might feel good for that season.
But you've got to face it
But eventually it's that weather and that storm is going to catch up to you. And you might be at your peak when it does, And so why not just hit it head on and figure it out the hard way, whether it's pivot friendships, whether it's changing careers, whether it's just having a voice and being confident in who you are, because that's what you believe and it's okay for them to believe otherwise, versus choosing to go in the direction,
Did you I don't know about you, but
I love the analogy.
I sort of went through
I really
something
did.
similar, a business that I built that was going to be very successful, and it got taken away, or I felt like it got taken away. And I had to look at I had to look finally into the storm and say, what was my part and how do I get through it? Acknowledge it, learn from it, and move on. What was that like for you? What was that moment that you finally said, I'm no longer going to be a victim. I am going to head into the storm and move forward?
Obviously, it was when deciding to like move forward with a separation, which was very difficult. You know, you're always told that you can't be selfish. Like, don't be selfish. You have a family to take care of. Like, get it together. Like, all of this. But I felt like that moment, it was okay for me to be selfish versus compromising my being happy.
And it isn't even just happiness. There's more than
there's
there. It's about
everything.
integrity. It's about being safe. From the relationship that if it wasn't emotionally safe or physically safe,
Oh, yeah. And
prioritizing that.
absolutely. And so, like, you look at that and you're like, am I a bad parent? Like, am I the statistic now? My ex used to tell me that. Look, we're the statistic. Their kids are going to be the part of the statistic. I'm like, well, they don't need to be. I'm like, we could, all this stuff. And so you have all these, like, all what I call noise that we pay attention to. But we pay attention to it because it's a reflection. We don't want to look bad.
Right.
Like, my reputation, I think I stayed very quiet during everything, but it was a rough patch.
Well, think
Very
about
rough.
this. You were going through a divorce. You had the risk. You were having to pay. You had to refinance your house. You were about ready to pay your ex-husband off. You were about ready to lose your house. You had this potential new relationship, but it was already on the other coast. I mean, a lot of people, and going back to your analogy, which is perfect for talking about what we're talking about here, you could have just said, you know what, let's just pick up and I'll just start over. I'll move to Connecticut. I'll just run away from the storm. Because that's really, not that anybody listening to this podcast today, if you've decided to move to another coast to start over, sometimes starting over is good.
But that wasn't an option for me.
But if there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're saying it wasn't an option.
Because of my kids.
But because of your
yes.
kid. Well, and also you probably had an ex-husband who said,
Yes.
yeah, you can't go anywhere. But you still decided to choose to stand solid and to face that storm. And I know it's going to be hard to put it in words, but what did that take? I mean, what kind of gut check did that take?
I think it took a lot of crying. First of all,
I was going to say how many.
Like,
that's what I was
honestly,
going to say. How many tears?
there was a lot of like, I don't know how I'm going to do
It had
it.
to feel terrible.
Oh yeah, but it's kind of like you're in survival mode
Yeah.
and you just go all in. It's almost like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I lost it all. What's next? That was my mindset. I lost my family for my family. I'm a pastor's kid, so they're very religious. So I lost my family's respect, you could say, towards me, and half my kid's life, like you said, my career, and reputation, like in that. So there's my home twice, but so there's a lot like there. So I'm like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
And you came out on
Like,
such
just
the
keep
better
on-
side.
Yeah. But not everyone looks at the silver lining on things.
Yeah.
And that's what I chose to look at. I said, you know what? It sucks that I got furloughed. But you know what? I own 100% of a company that I had zero ownership in before.
Right.
And so I did. But it took a lot of like grit, perseverance, and like pushing through. A lot of late nights, a lot of crying. I had an amazing partner. Like, my husband's amazing because he financially funded all of it, and he believed in me, like, in that. It just takes. There is something about believing in yourself, but there is something about having a partner that also
Absolutely.
does that. It's so validating.
Well, they pick you up. The partner picks you up when you can no longer carry yourself, right? And
Yeah.
and you do the same for your partner.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give women that find themselves in a situation where perhaps they're going through a divorce and they're thinking that the world is falling apart? Is their life after that
Oh,
old life.
absolutely. There is. I mean, it's hard. It's no easy road. It affects friendships. It affects everybody's affected by it. But I mean, I'm a believer. I have my faith like in the Lord, and so I know that His hands of perseverance is in everything I do. So why would I question it now, right? Because I've seen it in everything in my life, and so I know there's a reason, to things, and so I lean into my faith, on that. And so my suggestion is lean into faith first, pray about it, and just know that He will never put you in a situation that you can't overcome through Him. Period.
Right.
And that was like me all the time. Like there's a story of Peter walking on water, the storm.
Right.
Okay, he could not see. One really cool thing though is Christ could have calmed that storm, but He was testing him. And so while you're in that storm, whether it's a divorce, a career loss, moving, whatever it is, what I would suggest you do is change the way your prayer walk is and say, hey, instead of calming the storm, just walk through it with me.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be. Don't say, oh, just remove the cancer. Lord, help me through this. Yeah. Allow me to walk through it with you, with faith. And that's what He wants. Our God is a selfish God. So He wants that relationship so badly. And so I leaned on that a lot of tears at home, a lot of crying and praying and uncertainty on things, but it's my faith that got me through it all.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I don't know how people do it without faith.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
That is just
No.
beautiful.
I don't, and I'm sure you guys have gone through. It might not be the same situation, but you've gone through
Yeah.
stuff.
You just pick up and show up and you don't always feel it, but you just keep moving forward.
There was a period in my life where I found myself as an empty nester, and when all my kids were gone, and I started to drink too much alcohol, and from there I had some health issues that occurred because of that, and so gave up alcohol, of course. Ended up sitting in a room at AA and thinking I was totally worthless, that I had no value. How could a very successful, educated person like me that was raised the way I was raised end up in a seat at AA? And sitting there from the very beginning, I was I felt so much shame. But as those days and months went by, someone asked me to sit on a board for addiction here locally. And I thought to myself, wait, I don't have any value. How could they ask me to do that? I have no purpose. Look how horrible I've ended up with my life being in this mess. And so, but that person believed in me, just like Jared believed in you. And you talked about your faith. And for me, my faith also, that God doesn't make junk.
Oh, no.
So I talked myself through that. And from there, 10 years later, I now am a partner in a beautiful business here, getting to have the opportunity to chat with you, getting to have Connor in the room,
Yep.
a fabulous family and a wonderful marriage. So it's going through those storms.
Oh yeah.
That pain that makes us who we are. And it has a legacy that we can share with our kids. And your legacy is just being built. And it's just a beautiful story and a beautiful
Thank you.
testimonial.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of us tend to stop when it's uncomfortable. We're like,
We do.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. But being uncomfortable and vulnerable allows you just to grow. But some people don't get to experience that because they don't like what's foreign, versus pivoting or adapting, to those. And so,
Yeah. We chose not to hide.
I know.
Chose
Just
not
go
to
through it. It's easier to hide though,
It's easier.
It's comfortable for the minute, for the moment. It's comfortable, but in the long run, it gets very uncomfortable because, and you're not learning anything. I mean, you're not even failing. You're not doing anything, and if you're not doing anything, you are definitely going backwards. So
Absolutely.
we've been here at the Santy Phillips group. We've been talking a lot about failure and how it's not truly failure, but it's part of our path towards success. Because seriously, when you think about your big moments, your big successes, where, well, I'll use Own the Room. When we put that event on that day, which you were one of our favorite speakers at that event. I mean, you brought such great energy into the room. And how it was a great accomplishment for us. It was a huge success. But that's not what we learned. I mean, we celebrated the success, but we learned in the process of getting ourselves to be uncomfortable and doing very uncomfortable things. We hated getting up there and talking and worrying that is anybody going to be here to fill the seats? Is anybody going to show up?
And you had a sold out event.
And it was sold out. Yeah.
Well, and then sharing our vulnerabilities like you have done here.
We were
like,
all
what
nervous
will people
about that.
think about this?
Yeah.
But how many lives? That was a success. Wasn't it was the event, but the success was touching people's lives. You touched so many people's lives. Our stories resonated with so many people. So I think that was the gorgeousness.
I mean,
of
if you
that
really
business.
think about it, that event was so successful, but it was built on the back of women standing up and being vulnerable and talking about their failures and what a hard road they had in getting there. And without them, we don't have any stories.
You know what's so interesting, and Jared says this a lot jokingly, but we have there's this energy in Fresno that women just need to have it together. And women compete against women. Yeah. Like it's this weird tug of war. I might be hanging out with friends, but at the end of the day, they're talking about me after hanging out with them. Like that's what it is, and it's okay to be vulnerable and say, hey, I don't agree, or I don't get it, or I screwed up.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. Yeah, I went through a divorce. It was rocky. Shouldn't have done what I did, or whatever it was. But we are so worried about this image that it gives us that we choose to hide, behind it, but it doesn't allow us to own a room. It doesn't allow us to move forward and be confident in ourselves and our ability to interview for a CEO position or whatnot, because we're so insecure with just who we are.
And we're squashing our voice.
Yeah.
And until we are ready to lean into our voice, until we are ready to say what we're thinking and really become who God truly meant us to be, but whomever it is that meant us to be, until I become that full person, I am going to hide.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're not. And the only way to find out who you are is to step forward.
And exactly. And I posted that the other day. I posted something about why do we choose to make ourselves fill into a little space that we've already outgrown, but we choose to just stay here. We don't want to get any bigger, but the Lord has blessed us with the capacity to be bigger, but we've chosen to be here instead.
Right.
And so it's just very interesting that we do this to ourselves. So that room was very powerful to be in that space. And honestly, to share my story, everyone does kind of look at me and like, oh, look at Jared James' wife and the influencer and the MLS, the MLS girl, and she has it together. And it's like, no, let me tell you what my true story is, like at my core and what my driver is, and know that you could come out of wherever you're in the same way. But no one ever shows like the ugly, gritty stuff online. No one does that.
No one does.
And that's what we're doing here. That is why this show is so important. This podcast is so important. And we continue to want to do more of it. And we want to make sure that we include you as part of that, because you have such a wonderful singular voice that is clear about who you are and your confidence and your competency, that we're ready to move forward and let's go own the room.
I know. Absolutely. No, it's fun.
So you and your husband, your now newer husband, you've been married for 2 years. 2 years.
Yes.
So he lives on one coast, you live here in Fresno. So
that's how much we love each other.
That's how much you love each other.
No,
but
bicoastal.
Logistics are keeping you where you're at because of your children. He has children too.
Yes, I have 2 step boys. One is a senior at Tampa, so he's in Tampa. Oh, not a senior. He's a freshman at Tampa, and then I have one becoming a senior in Connecticut, and so that's what keeps him grounded there. But as you know, Jared travels everywhere, so he's never really home much. maybe 12 days out of the month, maybe 15. But yeah, so we're bi-coastal because of the kids.
Right.
But
I
we do a
see.
lot of FaceTime. We're business partners. There's times where he stays on the phone with me at night and we just fall asleep because I just need that
Yeah.
person
Yeah,
there.
that-
But we're also blessed to be able to go back and forth quite a bit. So, but it's so crazy to have someone that, like Jared and I are very much the same people. We're very opinionated people, very competitive people. But in a way, we do complement each other quite a bit. He definitely pushes me, like to ways that I am very uncomfortable. Public speaking, for sure, is very uncomfortable for me, and I'm still getting into it.
You would have never guessed it because you did such an amazing job.
Connor, what
that
do you
day.
think? Yeah, right. You're right.
He did. Yeah.
No,
She
but
did,
it's like
yeah.
I get so nervous. But you know what's crazy? Throw me in front of a room with 500 people. I could train them on any tech stack.
Right.
And I love it. But talk about me.
Yeah.
You know,
So
like,
different.
it's a little different. But he's so cool because he'll challenge me. He'll push me. He wants me to be better, you know, and all, which is amazing. Versus I truly believe my other marriage, I felt, whether it wasn't told to me, but I felt like because I was the breadwinner or because I was growing rapidly, there was a little bit of tension, or like I said, it wasn't displayed to me, or I could be reading this wrong, maybe even jealousy or whatever it was, that I never felt truly supported, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was pivoting to all these different places. But with Jared, it's just like, hey, let's grow together. Or let's soar. But you know what? That's also with friendships. I've learned that some friends are they're seasonal friends.
They
Isn't that weird to say?
Oh no, not at all. I completely agree with you. It's a season of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have friends that were there for me during the divorce that are not there now.
Right.
You know, but maybe they were there just to get me through everything. I have friends that they would say that it's so weird that I'm untouchable, which is not the case. But I always say, and Jared actually made it very clear, although we're birds and we're of the same species, you might be Eagle Connor and I'm not. I'm a hawk. And I can't outsoar you. And so therefore, I'm going to abandon you because you and I are just two different people. And I can't support you and your lifestyle and how far you're growing in your career with media, right? So that sometimes are friends. Friends are like, great, you're doing good. And there's that jealousy or whatever it is. They're not, that's that confidence really. They have lack of confidence in their ability in them that they choose to step away because they cannot support you in your growth.
Or they're
know.
intimidated by
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
And so, yeah, and so I do, it's kind of weird. And Jared made it very clear. I lost a really good friend before Jared and I got married. And it was heartbreaking to me. I mean, we had babies together. We did everything together. We went through the divorce together. And the couple days before my wedding, she said, you know, I'm not going and we're no longer whatever for her reasons. And it was devastating to me. But Jared said, hey, maybe she was just there. God placed her there for a moment.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. You have to be okay with that.
Right. Because in letting go of a relationship like that, you've opened yourself up.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
New relationships with friends who support where you're at today.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think it's I when you said that, I mean, that resonated so much because I look through, and I'm a lot older than you, and I look through, as I look through my life, and I look at the people who come and go, and how important they were at that time in my life. And it's hard to believe they're not in my life anymore.
know.
But that person got replaced with Gayle Phillips, you know? I mean, you don't know who that person is. So when you hang on to those relationships that really no longer serve, you are doing yourself such a disservice because you're not allowing that new person, you're not allowing room for that growth and that new person to come in.
We kind of get stuck in this whole, but I want to be liked.
Yeah.
I want to be invited.
What do you mean you don't
I
like
wanted
me
this,
enough
I
to
want
be in
that.
my life?
Yeah. So, but I've also had to learn that. But you know, also I've been able to make friends with CEOs across the nation and shake hands and grow. And it's been amazing. So my whole new set of friends have been nothing but just an opportunity for me just to grow and
To-
support.
They
and
fill you.
Oh, absolutely.
And challenge you where you
Yes.
weren't being filled or challenged before.
Or my new friends that the Lord has like placed in are friends that need me to support them and not necessarily I need something.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's kind of like that's been a very sweet little lesson for me as well.
Wow, there's a lot of lessons I think that
I
have been talked about through this last 45 minutes or so that I think that we all can relate to. And
Oh, yeah.
it's just been a real blessing to be here with you and
Thank you.
get to know you better and to
We need another
learn.
hour with you.
Oh,
It went
yes.
by so fast.
Maybe we
can't-
could get Jared on here.
Well, we thought we were going to get him to call in, but that's all right. We'll.
No, he did call in.
Yeah, we got him on tape.
Oh, did we get that?
Yes.
The real
We got him
Jared
to
and Linda
call in.
James.
Yeah, exactly.
We got that.
Yeah.
Well, there's just been so many gems in today's podcast. I think it's so great that you've been able to share what your journey has been and the challenges that you've faced and the opportunities in your life and how you've dealt with those opportunities. I just think it's so important as women and going back to the Own the Room conference that we did, you know, our goal was to show up and be real and because, and you said this, Linda, I mean, everything that you see out in social media is not the way it really is. I mean, we see these little glimmers. Like, for instance, I'm always telling Gayle, oh my gosh, did you see that social media post where they did these bizarre poses, but yet it looks so cool, you know? I mean, I'm sure if I were in the room with him, I'd go, what in the heck are you doing? You know, but it's life is not like that. Life has storms.
Oh, yeah.
It has abandonment. It has failures. It has successes, and all of it is who we are today. And so thank you so much for sharing
Absolutely.
your story.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yes, thank you so much. So, if you have enjoyed our episode with Linda James on the Room with
And
Pam
how
and
could you
Gayle,
have not?
I hope you have.
we would love for you to share this episode
Yeah.
with someone that maybe you know that might need to hear it. Please like us and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you the next time on the Room.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.